None get the start. No surprise to you, I guess. But what do you make of it as of now?
I like it. I'm a little bit old school when it comes to quarterback development, yet I try to look at each situation independent.
Okay.
And Skip knows in my formative years, there were guys like John Hadel and James Harris that I had around me to learn my craft from, to learn how to mature as a football player and as a person. And I kind of think that's the best way to go long term. But because of all the money you throw at these young quarterbacks, the owner wants them out there, the fans want them out there, so they're forced to play prematurely. And I think a guy like a Patrick Ramsey, to me, has always been kind of the real-life example. I loved his game coming out of college. He got the crap beat out of him in Washington, and he was shot. He was shot. And here was a guy that got beat up because he wasn't ready to play at that time, and the supporting cast wasn't ready to protect him. So he got beat up. So from a philosophical standpoint, I like the fact that these guys are going to sit back, take a deep breath, and learn what the NFL's about. Because, oh, by the way, when they walk into that locker room Monday, all these rookies, not the rookie quarterbacks, everything is ratcheted up. This isn't the cool-off season where you're running around in shorts and T-shirts. It's not the preseason where you only play 10 or 12 plays. This is big boy football starting next week. When you walk into that meeting room and you're part of one of those 32 teams, trust me, the intensity goes way up. From a quarterback perspective, it's not going to be this vanilla coverage that you see in the preseason. Nobody shows anything anymore. Now you're going to see the complex, sophisticated, rent space in your mind coverages that happen opening day. So really for these rookies, they're going to be wide-eyed when they walk in that locker room on Monday or their first meeting after all the cuts take place.
Real quick, rank what you've seen so far of the top.
Yeah, I actually went in last week and looked at all the young quarterbacks on tape. Clearly, Blake Bortles stands out. Yeah. And if there's a guy that is probably ready to play, it's him. But maybe the supporting cast isn't quite in place. So I kind of look what Gus Bradley is kind of taking a page out of Andy Reid's playbook with Donovan McNabb when he played Doug Peterson for the early part of the season till they shored up the offensive line and put the pieces in place before Donovan went on the field. I kind of think that's what Gus Bradley's doing in Jacksonville. But Blake Bortles clearly showed that he belongs. I mean, you don't even have to look at tape. You can just watch a game on TV and see the eyeball test is very good. I thought Teddy Bridgewater played very well in the He struggled his first game. He was a little fast, a little quick. And I like to look at guys' feet, because it kind of tells me what their mind is thinking. If they're fidgety and, playing frenetically, they're usually thinking that way too. Bridgewater, much better the second game. Zach Mettenberg, a guy that I liked coming out down in Tennessee, I thought he was excellent in the preseason. Big, strong arm, stand in the pocket, deliver the football, move around. He's not going to beat you with his legs running, but he's got pocket mobility, poise in the pocket. And so Zach Mettenberg jumped out to me. And probably the biggest surprise of all the young guys I looked at was Logan Thomas in Arizona. I mean, this guy's 6'6", 250, and I kind of kiddingly said around the draft after I studied his tape that he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. I mean, he was so erratic. He was all over the place. I plug in that tape, and this guy looked like a polished veteran. Logan Thomas was very, very good. And I guess he's got guys there in Bruce Arians and Tom Moore, the old veteran Tom Moore, working with him, coaching him. And you could just see in a 3 or 4 month period, this guy became an NFL quarterback. So clearly, and I looked at Derek Carr, but the sampling wasn't big enough. Our guy, Johnny Manziel, kind of what I thought I would see. Played fast, played frenetic, threw the ball inaccurately. But again, so did Brian Hoyer. So there's still competition in Cleveland.
Well, first of all, I love Blake Bortles. I love what I've seen from him, and I think that he's going to do some good things in Jacksonville. No need to rush him. Again, I have the same mentality towards him that I had with Johnny Manziel in Cleveland. Let's make sure the proper parts around him are ready to go before you throw him into the Lions' den, because he is the future. And I applaud Chan Hedney for recognizing that, not denying it. You're just knowing his role. He knows Blake Bortles is the future. To me, Teddy Bridgewater also looked good in the preseason. I think that he'll start before the season's out. I definitely think Blake Bortles will be the first to start. I think it'll be relatively early. It wouldn't surprise me if minds would change and he's inserted into week 1 or maybe week 2 or 3. I just expect Blake Bortles to be in the lineup relatively soon. The guy that has stood out for me that won't get any kind of playing time, it's only because of who he's playing behind. This dude Jimmy Garoppolo, Jaws, I'm shocked that you didn't bring him up. A 129 passer rating in 3 preseason games, albeit against backup. The kid has looked sharp. He's looked very impressive. I watched him against Philadelphia Eagles. I liked what I saw in him. He's making some pinpoint passes. They're talking about what he's doing in practice. He's got the pocket presence, and obviously he's going to be New England's number 2 guy. If it weren't for Tom Brady being in New England, we'd be talking about him more and wondering whether or not or when he's going to be inserted into the lineup because he's been that impressive. But those are the 3 names that come out to me right now. It would be Bortles, Bridgewater, and Garoppolo.
Yeah, and I would agree. I did look at Garoppolo, and I remember breaking him down for the draft. He played like his hair was on fire. And Bill and Josh McDaniels now have him calm down, make his reads, and Stephen A. is right. He did throw the ball nicely with accuracy and velocity. Looked like he belongs.
Which is why Ryan Mallett could get traded in the next few days. It's possible. Okay, back to Blake Bortles. It was interesting to me. You have to be careful, as you know, in evaluating the preseason. Are you playing with ones against ones? He got to play backups against backups for the most part. Bortles did. And remember, Gus Bradley took the pressure off right away and said, no, he will not start from the start. He said it. While Johnny in Cleveland against Hoyer, they made it like a cutthroat do-or-die competition, and both crumbled under the competition to me. So Bortles got to play with no real pressure because he could go in and free and easy and just say, well, I'm not competing for the job. I'm just trying to play football here. And he looked by far the most poised of all the young quarterbacks to me. I only got to see the one college game he played, the bowl game against Baylor. A lot of shorter passes. You broke down that tape. And I wasn't sure what to make of it. I still think Johnny has a little stronger arm than Blake Bortles does, but he's been deadly accurate so far.